So I sent you the IRS rulings,
Yeah, thank you.
and they consider all time banking, giving you my old ladder, giving you my old couch, giving you a box full of vegetables from my garden, or coming over and weeding or painting or whatever, doing some kind of, it's all a friendly neighborly favor
Yep.
with it, and it's not assigned any monetary value. It's in consideration of nothing, so it's not an exchange. I'm not exchanging a service or something with you. I'm simply giving you the vegetables or providing you a service with for nothing in return, period. And then I'm marking down in my account, I provided an hour of service, or we agree that the box of vegetables is, we'll call that 2 time credits. It's 2 hours. And that's sort of like, would I be willing to expend some amount of effort for 2 hours in order to have that box of vegetables?
So does it matter how it's framed? I'm just made up an example for,
Yep.
say, painting the inside of someone's house. So paint 4 walls and a ceiling in exchange for 10 hours of time bank credit.
Right. And it's not in exchange for, it's basically, I'm going to paint your house. It's taken me 10 hours. I'm going to mark in my account that I provided service to you for 10 hours. We do record that I now have 10 hours in my account that I can quote unquote spend. And we use those terms because people are, they just understand the traditional economy so clearly.
Right.
You technically do not owe me or the community anything. You are not bound to any reciprocity. There's no contract. There's nothing binding. You could just quit your membership and walk away and leave, and not ever owe anyone anything for anything that was done for you, because from our end, it was all completely a friendly neighborly favor, and we're, not one of us has our hand out. And so morally, because we're all agreeing to do time banking, one of our tenets is reciprocity. And so morally or philosophically, you owe the community 10 hours of service. We'd like it if you also provided friendly neighborly favors to anyone, not necessarily to the people that did something for you.
Mm-hmm.
But we just like you to give back to the community, and you are not bound to it. There is no contract. Nothing was ever done in consideration of something else. Nothing was ever exchanged.
So is it not seen as an exchange because one does the work sort of like into the time bank, and then it's not a 1-for-1. It's not like I will paint your house so while you fix my car.
That's right. It's not 1-for-1. That's barter.
Got
And
it.
barter is taxable. If we make some kind of arrangement like that and clearly specify, I'm going to paint your house and you're going to weed my garden, and we're each going to work for 5 hours, that's barter. And both transactions, the value of them are taxable. And so in time banking, they have to be separated. I'm doing a favor for you. I'm going to come over and paint your house. You can do a favor for me, but you don't have to. And so you could come over and weed my garden and put 5 hours in your account that you weeded my garden, but those two transactions are not connected. See what I mean?
I do.
They're not barter. And the media often gets this wrong when they interview people, or they do these articles about time banking, and right away they call it a barter system. And it's not a barter system at all, because if it were, the whole thing would be taxable.
So I want to talk to people about this. If I were to make the analogy to the little lending libraries.
Yeah.
So people drop off one book, people drop off 5 books, and then they might walk to some other lending library and see a book somewhere else, and they'll take a book, but they didn't go to someone's house and swap this book for that book.
As long as there's no binding contract for them, like if they can, if they could take a book and not put a book back, that's time banking. And of course, to live in community and to share and to trust and help each other and make it all work, it would be wonderful if they put a few books, one or more books back, or even put them, spread them around, or put them into the other libraries, or whatever they were doing. You know what I mean? They might drive around and see which one had the fewest books and put some books in there.
Good. All right. Thank you.
So sometimes money does enter into a time banking transaction.
Oh.
So let's say I'm going to haul your stuff to the dump.
Okay.
So my labor and loading the stuff and getting it to the dump and unloading it, all of that's my service. And I can do that for you as a friendly neighborly favor.
Okay.
So the wear and tear on my truck and the gas and the insurance and whatever, I don't know what the national standard is. What is it now? It's like 50 cents a mile or something like that. In my post, I might say, and I'm going to want $5 to cover the gas for my truck. The only specification there is that I can't say, I'll take your stuff to the dump. It's going to be 1 hour and $5. I have to say it's going to be 1 hour for my service doing the job, and it's going to be $5 for the gas and for my truck. 2 separate transactions. I put 1 hour in my account. The $5 doesn't get recorded anywhere other than that I am personally liable to the IRS that I earned $5 from you, right? If I'm operating a moving and hauling business and I happen to be doing some transactions in the time bank, I can provide my service for time credits, and any cash that I collect, I'm going to record the $5 as income, and then I'm going to record the cost of my insurance and the cost of upkeep on the truck and all of that, those are all business expenses on a Schedule C, and that all gets reported to the IRS. But the friendly neighborly favor does not, and it does not need to.
In the example you gave, what if you have a truck business or a hauling business? But if you don't, if you're really just a guy with a pickup truck, what else is stuff? Okay, so someone says, I'm happy to donate 1 hour of time bank credit to haul your stuff to the dump. In addition, so although I'm happy to donate the labor, I would like to be reimbursed for the gas it's going to take and the wear and tear on my car, which will be about $5.
If you are an individual in the United States, I believe if you're an individual and you are not in business, but you have some sort of hobby, or you do things like this, you occasionally haul people's stuff to the dump and then you get $5 for gas.
Yeah.
You have to keep track of that money that you earn. And then if at the end of the year, I think it's $600 or $800, if you earn more than $600 or $800, whatever the amount is, then you have to declare that on your taxes. If it's less than, you don't.
Okay.
There's a trigger point. There's an amount. It used to be $600, but it could be more than that now with inflation and everything. So then your second question about liability, kind of a whole can of worms when you start talking about liability. Okay. So many time banks have a very succinct hold harmless agreement that members accept, and we can hardwire your agreement into our agreements. You notice that when you first logged into the system, you had to accept our terms of service and privacy policies. And those are essentially hold harmless agreements. We're not promising anything, and we're not liable for anything. We're just providing this platform so that you can do time banking, and beyond that, you're on your own. And so many time banks they also have their own agreement. I mean, we sort of incorporate you into that agreement. So members are accepting to not hold you harmless either. And it does help to specifically have your own agreement. And many time banks often have, well, it's a similar terms of service. They have a brief outline of the kind of behavior they're expecting out of members and telling them, you know, we can shut any account off at any time for no reason and that kind of thing. That it's an hour for an hour and there's no barter and there's no cash and there's, you know, all of the basic tenets of time banking. Beyond that, many time banks also have what's called volunteer insurance. And one of the commonly used providers is called CIMA, C-I-M-A.
CIMA.
Yeah, CIMA, CIMA, volunteer insurance. And if you Google that, you can find their website. And you basically get a policy to ensure the maximum number of members that are providing services on any given day. And you can use reporting to figure that out. And then you add some. So like we have a 500 member time bank, and I think that it's up to like 20, 24 services a day get provided. And so they'll insure for 30 volunteers. So you don't, even though it's a 500 member time bank, you don't have to insure for all 500 members because only 20 or so of them are operating on any given day.
Gotcha.
And I almost think the insurance covers both the members who are providing services and the members that are being helped. But it would be good to look into that. And then beyond that, it's sort of like, you know, it's all the things we learned in kindergarten. It's let the buyer beware. And we provide a bunch of means in the system. When you go to another member's profile, you can see how long they've been a member. You can see how many unique individuals, you know, different people they've provided to and how many of those were satisfied. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to the member side of Our Exchange Portland.
Okay.
There's eBuddy service, garden and yard. Well, someone's looking for composting worms. Those are requests. Here's offers. Okay, so Marie, she's offering formerly a bookkeeper, office manager, knows a bunch of software. So we'll click on her name. That takes us to her profile.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at her achievements, okay, so she just joined. She's only been a member since June 29th. So,
okay. But she's already had one exchange.
One exchange with one different member. She provided one time and everyone was satisfied. And so she's brand new. She looks friendly enough. The contact is here. She has a whole bunch of offers. And so let's go back. And so, you know, let's say.
Yeah, let's find somebody. Okay, can we scroll down? Something that maybe wasn't posted last month. Let's see.
Let's go to me.
All right.
We'll find me. What's that? There we go. Okay, so we'll go to my achievements. So I've had 885 exchanges with 154 different members. I've been a member since August of 2006. Provided 716 times and everyone was satisfied. And every time someone contacted me 45 times, I emailed them back.
And are those stats that people self-report later, or does Our Time actually track that? I mean,
the system. So when you contact someone from within the system, 3 days later, you'll get an email asking if you got a response. And in that email, there's a yes button and a no button. And if you click yes or no, it tallies that in that member's profile and shows up here.
Got it. So those are things that one should look at. Okay.
You're directories need to be rebuilt. And
Okay.
normally what triggers that is two things. One, when you log in from a newly opened browser, you log into the administrative side, it puts your time bank in a queue right then for everything to be re-indexed and updated and made all the way current. When an administrator logs into the administrative side from a newly opened browser, not a new tab, but literally open a browser, log into the admin side, that puts your time bank into a queue to get all the indexes and directories and everything rebuilt. And that happens anywhere from in a few minutes to a couple of hours, depending on how many other entries are in the queue. And then all time banks get re-indexed and directories rebuilt and everything every night. Let's do a search.
Okay.
Click in the search box and just put writing in there, right way up at the top.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. 5 offers. So click the offers.
Now there I come up. And this other
Okay.
guy keep.
So
Now,
the
question, if I wanted to look though for writing with, so it defaults to only local, huh? If I want to look at Intertrade, I have to go down here, correct?
that's right.
Okay, now this was sort of weird.
Intertrade is its own separate area.
Got it.
Because
So
you're
then if I go to writing here as an Intertrade,
you may have one offer here. Did you see?
will mine show up in Intertrade?
One of yours was set to global, so one of yours should be here. Do you see it? Yeah, there it is, right here on the left.
Yeah. Okay.
Proofreading.
Now, if that one is set to is global, anyone, it would be visible both to other chapters, other banks, as
Yes.
well as to local.
Yes.
But our other members, our local members who are only looking locally will still be able to see this offer, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.